the Russian Berdan 2 rifle. Okay, I got one of these from Royal Tiger, but this is a nice one that I had. I bought this at an auction quite a few years ago and has a very fine bore. Now, I went out and tried to develop a cartridge, and I went and did some testing. Now, the thing about the Berdan, be warned, first of all, they're pretty rare, hard to find gun. Okay, something like this, it's like $1,500 or more. They're not, and they don't pop up that often. Okay, the way the chamber is cut and the way the gun was designed, you must use a paper patch bullet. Okay, there's no way around it, because the way the chamber's cut, there's no way you're getting a bullet in the case that'll engage the rifling without it being paper patched. It's just one of the ones. Okay, so what I had to do is I had to learn paper patching. I had to get a mold, and what I did, there's two ways to go with paper patching. You can try to find buffalo arms that'll swage a paper patch slug. This is one here. I don't know how I can show it to you. Like this. This is the bullet here. I cast it out of some type of lead that I found. I believe it's pure lead. I can scratch it with my fingernail. I'm not quite sure. But you'd make it out of a soft lead, okay? And then you have to wrap the paper patch around it to get it up. This is somewhat undersized bore. Let's see. It barely goes in. So this is maybe a thousandths or two over the bore diameter. Then you'd wrap the paper and it adds to about 2 or 4 thousandths to the diameter, and that's what grabs the rifling. Now with black powder, it gives the black powder fouling somewhere to go. And you can do this with smokeless powder, using the correct powder, giving it a shot, and that's what I tried. Now, the problems I ran into, I believe today, was I was using, this is a 44 caliber paper patch, and the way you roll that around the bullet, these two ends should be perfectly matched together, making the bullet an even diameter. I used a little bit larger patch template, and I think I had an overlap, which I believe unstabilized the bullets. Plus, I have to go back, read my reference books, restudy. You got to wrap in a direction, I don't know how they said to do it. You have to look at the rifling, if it's right hand or left hand, and wrap the patch, or the paper patch accordingly. I may have screwed that up, and I think I overlapped and it wasn't quite perfectly round, and I believe that shows in the target results. But this is something I've been working on. I got into it, I got the dies and everything else. And this one's a little tricky. It's not that hard to make the brass, but it's a little bit tricky reloading it and getting it right. And also, please, I'm just starting this. Give me time. I might have to stop because there's a lot more involved and a lot more studying, research, and experimenting. And I'm tied up with a lot of other different projects, so something else can come along and I might, take a step back from this for a few months before I do any more work with it, okay? So, but here's my first test results. We're going to go to the range, and then I'll go and examine the targets and tell you, I didn't quite get the chronograph stuff off yet, but I got a rough opinion, and I'm going to have to do some more research and studying. But here's the range time. Today we're going to do some load development for the Russian Berdan 2 rifle. Basically, we got her all set up. Chronograph target at 50 yards. And what I'm doing is trying to develop the ammunition for this particular rifle. What I'm trying out, which is a little different, is I'm paper patching the bullets. I'm not quite sure if I got it right. I have to go back. I kind of hastily put this together and formed up some brass. But I'm going to check out the results. And the reason I'm using the rifle in better condition is because I want to see if I got the ammo right. The other gun has to have the barrel worked on and that. So we're just going to give this a test run and see what happens. Alright, what I've done to start it off, I put one down there and it's shooting low. Now I believe the bullet I'm using is a bit heavier than what was there. And also, we're starting with a light load, okay, and working our way up. So the fact that the point of impact is low at 50 yards means I'm not getting the bullet out to the speed it should be. Surprisingly, these are coming out fairly well. Not extracting all the way, but extracting it enough to where I can get it out of the gun fairly easy. I thought I might have problems, and we're going about a little over 1,000 feet per second. I will get into more detail with the ammo. This is just our test run. Okay. I'm going to go switch things over and change out a target. I'll review everything at the end of the video. Alright, the results weren't bad. I had some wild flyers and some variances, but with these large cartridges and a light load, and with this 5744, generally what happens is you hit a point where the bullet gets to a certain velocity, the deviation drops, and it's generally a little bit more powerful than people expect. I think this cartridge is rated with a slightly lighter bullet for 1,400 feet per second, and I'm only breaking 1,000. So we'll see. But the accuracy is there, okay? This thing's not shooting really high. And I don't really know if I got the paper patching down correctly either. I think I did a sloppy job on a couple of the bullets. Okay, I'm going to go switch out targets, and maybe when I do my last string, I'll get back with these. Well, I kind of was right in my assumption. I used a 44 caliber template to make a paper patch for a 43 caliber bullet, and I think when I do the wrap I'm overlapping, and I think the patch is too long and it's not wrapping up nice and tight at the base. So the faster I'm driving the bullets, it seems like the more they're spreading out, to where I've kept them all on the paper till this last one, but I only got one on the paper, which means the faster they're going, the more unstable they are and the more they're flying out. So I'm probably going to have to go study up and make a special template for this and do some more research and work on this paper patching. Because I'm nowhere near the velocity I should be getting. I'm not even at 1100 yet. So the faster this goes, the more unstable and the more it's spreading out. So I believe it's the patch. I have to do some more research on my patching techniques. And there is a book, there is a formula on how to cut it and get the size. So that's what I'm going to have to do, it appears. But at least we know the brass conversion works. The dies work. And from what I'm getting recoil-wise, no signs of pressure, but I don't even want to ratchet this load up anymore. It's getting pretty stout. And all that holds it together is the receiver. Well, I got a dupe at 1100. So I think I'd have to increase the powder charge a little. Get me where I want to be. Ooh, that one extracted all the way. Alright, when we get back to the garage, we'll kind of do an assessment after I get all my info and see what I come up with. Okay, string number 1, which was the lowest powder charge I started with. I did a test shot and got here, and then pretty much put 3 there and 1 clipped the edge here. So pretty well spread out. Was going about 1,000 feet per second, and I believe, I can't remember what that bullet weight is, 380 grains or something. So that wasn't too bad, but that was a start. Then when we got up to a half grain more powder, kind of started to spread out a little. Had one tear through here, and that was because there's a big open thing behind there. I don't think it keyholed. I think it just ripped the hell out of the paper. Here, and then, see, we kind of spread. But what I was noticing is this spread, I think, is the instability of the bullet. It has something to do with my paper patching job. Because then when we went up another half grain, it went wild. Just got 1 on the paper, and I think the others were high or something. And I said, well, it ain't working out too well. But when I went to my last test charge, we kind of got back into where we're somewhat on the paper. One must have went way off this way. So there's the 4 of them. But velocity wise, I got a duplication on this. I have not taken the chronograph information off. But pretty much that's at point aim with the sights the way they are here. Now, I don't know if the bullet used in this cartridge is lighter or something, but I believe the reason I'm so spread out is I believe my paper patch has some improvements and has to be adjusted. So that's where we're standing. I have to go study up, try getting the correct template and cutting the right patches, and then patching the bullets. And then I think what I will do is, since I got duplicates with this, I have to do some calculating. And this load here, this last load, was pretty stout. Okay, you know you're firing the gun, but no signs of pressure. I may go another grain or two higher and see what results I get. But I think I have to work on stabilizing the bullet first, and that's working on the paper patch. So stay tuned, and when I get around to doing some more trials and work, I'll fill you in.